From the outside, Venezuela's president presents himself as a man of the people, shaped by struggle and sacrifice. But behind closed doors, a very different story begins to unfold. Luxury villas, private jets, supercars, and million-dollar wardrobes quietly surround his inner circle. This video uncovers how power turned into wealth across an entire family. Watch until the end to see how deep this hidden empire truly goes. From working-class roots to presidential power. Before Nicolás Maduro became the most powerful man in Venezuela, his story began far from palaces, luxury vehicles, or overseas villas. He was born on the 23rd of November 1962 in a working-class neighborhood of Caracas, an area defined by modest homes, unstable income, and strong community ties. His family did not inherit wealth, land, or business empires. What they inherited instead was ideology. Maduro's father, a trade union organizer, lived inside a world where political loyalty mattered more than money, and that belief shaped Maduro long before he ever imagined personal wealth. The turning point came in 1989, when his father died suddenly. At just 26 years old, Maduro lost his main ideological anchor, and with it, the last barrier between belief and ambition. Friends from that period later described a shift, where survival and influence began to matter more than idealism alone. Maduro did not pursue higher education or formal financial training. He left school without a university degree and entered political networks directly, learning power through proximity rather than theory. His earliest role as a bodyguard for José Vicente Rangel exposed him to how decisions were made behind closed doors. He saw that access, not income, determined outcomes. During the 1,990 seconds as Venezuela moved through political turbulence, Maduro attached himself to left-wing movements that valued loyalty above competence. When Hugo Chavez rose to power in 1998, Maduro was positioned close enough to benefit, not financially at first, but structurally. He became part of a system where state authority opened doors that private capital never could. By the time Maduro helped rewrite the Venezuelan constitution in 1999, his personal finances were still limited. Even years later, his officially declared net worth would remain slightly above $2 million, a figure that included modest property holdings and declared income. On paper, this placed him far below global elites and even many regional politicians. But that number mattered less than what it represented. It marked the moment when political control replaced personal wealth as the true currency. As Maduro climbed to president of the National Assembly in 2005, then foreign minister in 2006, and eventually vice president in 2012, power consolidated around him. No mansions appeared overnight, no luxury fleets emerged publicly. Instead, influence accumulated quietly, creating a foundation upon which future wealth could later rest, not only for him, but for his entire family. This early chapter matters because it explains everything that follows. Maduro did not build wealth first and then seek power. He built power first, and wealth followed later, slowly, quietly, and far beyond what official numbers would ever reveal. What do you think mattered more in Maduro's rise? Ideology or access to power? Let us know in the comments below. Celia Flores, the architect behind the throne. Long before she became known internationally as Venezuela's First Lady, Celia Flores had already built a career defined by legal authority, political discipline, and strategic positioning. Born in 1,956 inches, the small town of Tinaquio, she pursued law at Universidad Santa Maria, a path that placed her inside Venezuela's institutional framework rather than on its margins. This background matters because Flores did not enter power through symbolism or marriage alone. She arrived with credentials, networks, and an understanding of how legal systems protect influence over time. Her ascent accelerated in the early 2000s when she won a seat in the National Assembly and quickly distinguished herself as a reliable operator within the ruling coalition. Between 2006 and 2011, Flores made history as the first woman to lead Venezuela's National Assembly, a position that granted her direct control over legislative agendas, procedural rules, and internal oversight. During those 5 years, she developed a reputation for discipline and loyalty, traits that proved essential in a political environment where survival depended on alignment rather than visibility. Financially, Flores presents a carefully managed profile. Her declared personal net worth exceeds $5 million, a figure that includes documented income, property interests, and personal assets. Yet her public appearances offer additional clues about long-term wealth signaling. Flores is frequently photographed wearing European luxury brands, not as fashion statements, but as markers of access. Her wardrobe has included Dior jackets priced above $3,000, Dolce & Gabbana ensembles exceeding $4,000, and Van Cleef & Arpels jewelry pieces valued up to $19,000 each. These items are not disposable purchases. High-end jewelry, in particular, functions as a portable store of value, retaining liquidity across borders and currencies. Beyond personal style, Flores' real influence lies in coordination. She has consistently operated as a stabilizing force within the presidential inner circle, managing relationships, insulating family members from institutional risk, and maintaining continuity during periods of political pressure. Unlike figures who seek attention, Flores favors procedural control, preferring committee rooms and closed-door negotiations to public platforms. This approach reduces exposure while maximizing leverage. Her marriage to Nicolás Maduro in 2013, shortly after he assumed the presidency, formalized what had already been a long-standing political alliance. From that point forward, Flores became not only a partner, but a guardian of the family's political capital, ensuring that power translated into durability rather than short-term visibility. She rarely speaks publicly about wealth, and she does not present herself as an icon of luxury. Instead, her choices reflect a different strategy, one focused on preservation, discretion, and long-range positioning. In the architecture of power surrounding Venezuela's presidency, Celia Flores is not an accessory. She is a structural pillar, one whose legal training, financial signaling, and strategic restraint continue to shape how influence is protected, extended, and quietly sustained. Nicolasito, the heir raised inside power. Born on the 21st of June 1990, Nicolás Maduro Guerrero, widely known as Nicolasito, entered a world where politics was not an abstract concept but a daily reality. From childhood, his environment was shaped by meetings, security protocols, and the constant presence of state authority. Unlike heirs raised around business empires, Nicolasito grew up inside political power, learning early that access and proximity could be more valuable than formal wealth. His academic path reflected this trajectory. Nicolasito studied economics, a field that aligned naturally with governance and state systems rather than private enterprise. When his father assumed the presidency in 2013, Nicolasito's position changed almost immediately. By 2014, at just 24 years old, he was appointed head of the Corps of Special Inspectors of the Presidency, a role that placed him inside sensitive oversight structures. The title alone carried institutional weight, granting influence far beyond what most people his age could access, regardless of education or experience. 3 years later, in 2017, Nicolasito was elected as a deputy to the National Assembly, further formalizing his role within the political system. His rise was swift, structured, and clearly supported by existing networks. While his responsibilities were framed as administrative and supervisory, the appointment marked a clear transition from political offspring to political actor, embedding him permanently within Venezuela's governing framework. Parallel to this ascent was a lifestyle that drew international attention. Unlike other family members who favored discretion, Nicolasito became associated with high-visibility luxury. He was frequently linked to elite supercars, including a Ferrari 488 GTB valued at approximately $400,000, a vehicle capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 3 seconds, and a Lamborghini Aventador priced near $350,000, a model known as much for its presence as for its engineering. These vehicles were not subtle signals, they were unmistakable statements. His travel habits reinforced that image. Nicolasito regularly flew on a Dassault Falcon 900EX private jet, an aircraft valued at $13 million, designed for long-range intercontinental travel with executive-level interiors. The jet's capabilities allow non-stop flights across continents, eliminating reliance on commercial aviation and ensuring complete privacy. Operating costs for such an aircraft typically exceed $5,000 per flight hour, placing even routine travel firmly in the realm of elite mobility. What makes Nicolasito's profile distinct is not simply the price of the assets, but the contrast they create. His lifestyle is openly modern, global, and visually extravagant, standing apart from the more restrained image cultivated by senior figures around him. This contrast appears intentional. Where others preserve influence quietly, Nicolasito projects it visibly, embodying a new generation shaped not only by power, but by display. In the broader structure of the family, Nicolasito represents continuity through visibility. He is the embodiment of a political legacy transitioning into a new era where authority is not only exercised, but also seen, documented, and remembered long before it is ever questioned. The quiet wealth of Celia's sons. While Nicolasito represents visibility and spectacle, the sons of Celia Flores follow a very different blueprint, one defined by silence, distance, and controlled exposure. Walter Jacob Javidia Flores, Jose Daniel Javidia Flores, and Josu Alexander Javidia Flores rarely appear in political speeches, official ceremonies, or public controversies. Their names are not attached to government titles or televised roles. Instead, their presence is felt through patterns of movement, travel, and consumption that quietly signal access to wealth far beyond ordinary means. This contrast is deliberate. Unlike Nicolasito's open association with supercars and private jets, Celia's sons operate under the principle that low visibility reduces risk. They avoid social media attention, keep their professional profiles vague, and limit public appearances inside Venezuela. Yet when examined through travel records and documented expenditures, a different picture emerges, one that reflects a lifestyle firmly anchored in the global luxury ecosystem. One of the clearest examples surfaced through their extended stays in Europe. During a single trip to Paris, Celia's sons reportedly spent $45,000 on an 18-night stay at the Ritz Paris, where rooms average approximately $600 per night before taxes and services. This figure does not include dining, private transportation, or shopping, costs that can easily double the total expenditure in a city known for high-end consumption. Such spending patterns indicate not a one-time indulgence, but familiarity with elite hospitality norms. Luxury travel of this kind serves a functional purpose. Five-star hotels like the Ritz Paris offer privacy, controlled access, and discreet security, allowing guests to move without attracting unnecessary attention. For individuals connected to political power, these environments provide protection not through force, but through anonymity. Staff are trained for discretion, guest identities are shielded, and public exposure is minimized. In this context, cost becomes secondary to control. Beyond Europe, similar travel patterns have been observed across luxury destinations, where cashless transactions, concierge-managed itineraries, and private services dominate. These trips rarely generate headlines, precisely because they are designed not to. There are no public convoys, no official announcements, and no visible symbols linking them directly to political authority. This absence is itself a strategy. Financially, this approach aligns with long-term wealth preservation. By avoiding conspicuous asset ownership such as supercars or publicly registered aircraft, Celia's sons reduce traceable footprints. Instead of fixed assets that invite scrutiny, they prioritize experiential luxury, temporary, mobile, and difficult to audit. Hotel stays, private tours, and international travel leave fewer permanent records than property titles or vehicle registries, while still reflecting substantial disposable income. What distinguishes their lifestyle is not extravagance alone, but restraint. Every decision appears calibrated to balance comfort with invisibility. In families where power and wealth intersect, discretion often becomes the most valuable asset of all. By staying out of the spotlight, Celia's sons preserve flexibility, minimize exposure, and ensure that wealth remains protected not by walls or security details, but by silence itself. In the architecture of the family's financial ecosystem, they represent the quiet layer, the part that moves freely because it is rarely seen, and that endures precisely because it does not announce itself. Mansions, villas, and offshore assets. As political influence solidified, the Maduro family's wealth strategy shifted toward real estate, a classic instrument for preserving value across borders while reducing exposure to currency volatility and domestic instability. Unlike vehicles or short-term luxury spending, property offers permanence, privacy, and insulation from sudden economic swings. Over time, the family's real estate footprint began to reveal a deliberate pattern, one focused not on excess visibility, but on strategic placement. The most widely discussed property linked to the family is an oceanfront villa in Cap Cana, one of the most exclusive gated communities in the Caribbean. Valued at approximately $18 million, the residence is positioned inside a high-security enclave known for hosting international elites, professional athletes, and private investors. The villa features 9 bedrooms, each with a private bathroom, expansive living areas, an infinity swimming pool, a private bar, and uninterrupted Atlantic Ocean views. Properties in this area are not marketed for vacation appeal alone. They are structured for discretion, protected access, and long-term capital preservation. Beyond its price tag, the villa's location matters. Cap Cana operates under private governance, with controlled entry points, private marinas, and limited public records, conditions that reduce scrutiny while maintaining asset liquidity. Comparable villas in the same zone have appreciated steadily, making such properties attractive not only as residences, but as offshore stores of value. Inside Venezuela, the family's holdings extend into Altamira and La Lagunita, 2 of Caracas's most affluent neighborhoods. These areas are known for large, secured compounds rather than visible street-level luxury. Mansions in Altamira typically range between $2 million and $5 million, depending on land size, security infrastructure, and elevation, while La Lagunita properties can exceed $6 million due to their expansive plots, private access roads, and panoramic views. What stands out is how these properties are allocated rather than merely owned. Different residences are associated with specific family members, suggesting intentional separation of assets rather than centralized control. This structure allows each property to function independently, reducing concentration risk while ensuring that wealth is distributed across multiple titles and locations. In financial terms, this mirrors a portfolio strategy, diversified geographically and administratively. Real estate also offers advantages that cash cannot. Property can be renovated, revalued, transferred, or held indefinitely without triggering constant transactional visibility. Maintenance and security costs are predictable, while appreciation remains largely insulated from political cycles. In environments where transparency is limited and volatility is high, these characteristics become invaluable. Importantly, none of these properties are presented publicly as symbols of luxury. There are no grand announcements, no official disclosures, and no promotional imagery. Their power lies in their quiet permanence. While public narratives focus on declared net worth figures measured in millions, the real story unfolds through assets measured in land, walls, and coastlines. In this layer of the family's financial structure, wealth is no longer mobile or performative. It is anchored, protected, and positioned to endure, regardless of political seasons or economic headlines. Power, wealth, and the Venezuelan contrast. As the financial footprint of Nicolás Maduro's family expands across borders and asset classes, a sharp contrast becomes impossible to ignore. On one side is a network of properties, vehicles, jewelry, and overseas holdings valued in tens of millions of dollars. On the other is a nation where millions of citizens face unstable income, limited access to basic goods, and long-term economic uncertainty. This contrast is not symbolic, it is structural. Political authority does not always appear as direct cash. Instead, it opens doors to access, protection, and opportunity that cannot be measured by official salary declarations. While public records may list modest net worth figures, the reality is shaped by assets that sit outside traditional income channels. An $18 million oceanfront villa, multi-million-dollar residences in elite Caracas neighborhoods, and frequent access to private aircraft represent a lifestyle that cannot be sustained by formal earnings alone. The difference lies in proximity to power. Luxury items play a crucial role in this system. High-end jewelry, often valued between $15,000 and $80,000 per piece, functions as portable wealth that holds value across borders and currencies. Unlike cash, these assets are resistant to inflation, discreet in transport, and easily liquidated in global markets. The same logic applies to luxury vehicles priced between $300,000 and $400,000, which serve not only as transportation, but also as symbols of status, access, and insulation from everyday reality. Real estate completes the structure. property in foreign jurisdictions offers legal protection, long-term appreciation, and a buffer against domestic instability. Unlike bank accounts, these assets do not fluctuate daily in public view. They sit quietly, appreciating over time, detached from political speeches or economic cycles. This creates a form of wealth that is silent but enduring, visible only through patterns rather than declarations. What emerges is not a collection of isolated purchases, but a self-sustaining ecosystem. Political influence enables access. Access enables asset accumulation. Assets preserve value. Preserved value reinforces influence. Each layer strengthens the next, forming a closed loop that operates independently of national economic conditions. Within this system, wealth is not earned annually. It is positioned strategically. For ordinary citizens, this gap raises unavoidable questions. When leadership exists within a financial reality entirely separate from the population it governs, accountability becomes harder to define. Governance shifts from representation to insulation. Inequality stops being accidental and becomes structural. This story is not only about numbers, it is about distance. Distance between lifestyles, between protections, and between consequences. And as this financial architecture continues to grow, the question is no longer whether the contrast exists, but how long it can remain unresolved. What do you think this contrast says about power and accountability today? Share your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned as we break down what this system means for the future in the next part. After examining the lives of Venezuela's presidential family, 3 powerful lessons become impossible to ignore. First, political power can quietly transform into generational wealth, even when official numbers suggest otherwise. Declared net worths mean little when luxury real estate, jewelry, private jets, and overseas assets tell a far richer story. Second, influence multiplies through family, not just through one individual, as spouses and children often become extensions of power rather than bystanders. Third, discretion is a strategy, with some family members choosing visibility through supercars and others choosing silence through offshore travel and hidden properties. This story is not only about money, but about how access, control, and protection shape modern elite lifestyles while ordinary citizens face daily hardship. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, don't forget to like and subscribe to Billionaire Story for more untold power and wealth stories. Stay tuned for part 2, where we reveal even deeper layers behind political families and the fortunes they quietly build.